Dragon Ballers, if you're looking to buy Dragon Ball Super or One Piece sealed product, make sure to get 5% off using my link to Mystic TCG down in the description. You can also sell cards to them using their Facebook link, which is also down in the description. Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. Today we are finishing off our coverage on the Zenkai Dash Pack reveals with the support going to the Agents of Destruction deck. This is a deck that a lot of people find very fun. It was even looked at as like a bit of a rogue-ish, like good call for a meta, I think like 2 or 3 formats ago. I know some of my teammates were messing with it, some of my friends were messing with it, and it's just a really like fast-paced, high-octane aggro deck, and the cards coming out for it, like the rest of the Zenkai Dash Pack stuff, are seeming to be pretty strong. We're gonna go over them in today's video. If you guys don't know how to get your hands on these cards, you can get your hands on the Zenkai Dash Pack cards by either buying product from your locals or participating in tournaments, which I believe starts this week in 2023. First week 2023, I believe, is when that promotion starts. So with that being said, we will go into this. If you guys are new here though, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video. And if you guys want to support the channel, there are tons of ways to do so down in the description. One way that would really help me out is if you want to buy or pre-order any cards we talk about today, or any trading cards for that matter. It does really help out if you use my link to TCG Player, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Anyways, let's jump right on into this. We will start, of course, with the leader. Just as a bit of a refresher, we have Bobbity on the Unawakened side. Permanent treat Agents of Destructions cards in your hand as if they had no specified cost. So this deck is pretty much a rainbow deck, but it's colorless, so you're not paying specific energy for certain color cards. You're just paying whatever energy is necessary for them. When this card attacks, add up to 1 card from life to hand, and then look at the top 5 cards of your deck and add up to 1 Agent of Destruction to your hand, then shuffle your deck. When your life's 4 or less, untap 1, draw 1, and then we go over to Majin Buu, leader of the Agent of Destruction. Now this leader is very powerful. The only downside is you lose draw power once you go to this side of the leader. Your leader no longer draws on the Awakened side, but that's okay. I mean, we've seen a lot of successful decks not draw on their Awakened side, right? You make up that advantage in other ways, and if you are as fast of an aggro deck as AoD can be, you can end up in a pretty good spot even though your leader's not drawing on the Awakened side. But anyways, again, same permanent. Activate main once per turn. Choose 1 AoD with energy cost of 2 or less in your hand and play it, so you're getting free play there, which we know is a lot more scarce in the game nowadays. Activate once per turn for 3 energy. Choose 1 unison with Agent of Destruction and its card name in your hand and play with 3 markers on it. So you've got 2 great options there, one of which is the classic Majin Buu Agent of Destruction unison. You don't get the ability to untap energy because I believe that one is tied to being a blue leader, but you do get the draw on the +0 as well as the -1, and cheating out for 3 is, I don't know, almost like you untapped 1 anyway. And then you also have the SS3 Vegeta Unison, which is just a total board wipe. Also swings for double strike crit, which is a pretty cool addition. So you have 2 great options for Unisons there at the 3 energy mark. Then just from the main deck stuff, like AoD does have a lot of good things going for it. The one kind of weakness is like it can just be a 15k spam deck, but you can also play some 20ks here and there, and some of the new support is going to help bolster your offensive capabilities, which we'll see in a second. But a couple of things I wanted to point out. Android 13 exterminating AoD is an incredible counterplay, and in a format where, you know, we've seen hits to cards like Resolve Renewed, you're looking for better options for stopping your opponent's floodgates. If you want to play a deck that's able to do that pretty well, AoD is a great option. This card is all in the counterplay text, so it's not an auto. It stops whatever is being played from resolving their on play effects, and then you're also going to make your opponent pitch a card from their hand. So you're basically 2-for-1ing your opponent, and by paying 1 energy, you're getting a 15k body on board. That is a really good exchange for you, and honestly one of the best plays that AoD has at its disposal. You've also got Garlic Jr., Immortal Agent of Destruction, for 1 energy to get the attack, and then play a 2 cost or less AoD from your deck, which actually combos pretty nicely with a card we'll see in a moment that is coming out in the Dash Pack support. And then you have Hatchiyak, Vengeful Agent of Destruction. On play, offers you some removal, but it also allows you to constantly replay your Evil Wizard Bobbity, which is a vital card for the deck. It reduces the cost of all your AoDs by 1, which is super important for the leader. And with this card, you're able to play, I think, a maximum of 8 copies of Bobbity, you know, 4 copies of itself, as well as your 4 copies of Hatchiyak. And if your opponent's able to remove your Bobbity, the great thing is Hatchiyak can go and replay it from the drop area. That's a really big deal. Again, especially now we're getting so much more barrier removal. I guess like if they smoke dragon it, it goes to your warp, so Hatch can't pick it back up. But on the bright side, I mean, they're paying 2 energy for your 1 energy, so you're winning out on that exchange. And then again, you will probably have 8 copies of Bobbity in your deck total, so replaying a Bobbity shouldn't be too difficult, right? So yeah, those are things I wanted to point out about the current state of AoD. Very fast rush deck, can get awakened very quickly. Now let's look at some of the new cards. we have Majin Buu Pure Destroyer, a card that you wouldn't think is AoD support, but it is. So we have a 1-drop 5k blocker, which is kind of funny because at any point in the game, if you're just, I don't know, struggling to survive and just, you need a blocker to survive your opponent's next turn, it's there. But regardless, has a lot of other great effects, costs only 1 Z energy. If your leader's backside is a Majin Buu leader Agents of Destruction, its front side is facing up, and you have 6 or less life, you have 2 or more energy. Flip one of your leaders to its backside, draw 2 cards, and remove this card from the game. So there's a few things there. Basically, for 1 energy, you can awaken early if you don't want to wait till you're at 4 or less life. You draw 2 instead of untapping 1 and drawing 1, and you actually technically lose out on an energy because this costs you 1, right? So it's almost like pay 1, draw 2 awaken, which is, kind of the inverse of what a lot of awakens do. But this is cool actually, because me personally, I'm not a super huge fan of the Agents of Destruction Strike Back, because I don't know, in my experience, unless your deck is literally all agents, like, it's going to be pretty rare you actually get to add the 2 cards, which is the best value the card can get you. Typically, you're just adding 1 card, which is still fine. I mean, the card still replaces itself and takes a life, and that's the card you lean into if you're playing the hyper aggressive, like, Turbo Awaken version of AoD. But I like this card a lot because it almost incentivizes you to play the bit of the slower, like mid-rangier version of AoD, which, I love playing mid-range, so that's what I'm always going to lean towards. And this can reward that because you can awaken at a higher life total, you get some draw power, and then you can actually wait to use this effect until you have 3 energy, which you can then use the second activate main. So activate main limit 1, if your leader is black, you have 3 or more energy, and you place one of your Z energy in your drop. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards and place it under this card, and then this card gains 20k power until the end of your opponent's next turn. So if you have 3 energy, you can play this card, use that effect, remove a battle card, swing for 25k, and then use the activate main to awaken yourself, which is a really cool thing. Awesome thing too there is, like, if you're playing against a deck that doesn't attack at all, like maybe a Hachiyak or I don't know, a Prison Frieza, some random stuff that doesn't attack you ever early on, this is just an awaken button, which is a really cool thing. So yeah, I like this card a lot. It's also just great in black decks in general. So from yesterday's video talking about Supreme Kai of Time, this is an incredible Z deck inclusion for that deck as well, purely for the removal aspect. So incredible card nonetheless. All right, then we have Janemba, Bewitching Agent of Destruction. We have a 2-drop 15k, which in this deck is practically a 1-drop. Permanent, this card's original skills can't be negated in any area. That just prevents any weird abuse type of stuff. Permanent, this card can't be added to a player's hand. Auto burst 1 when this card's played from your hand, draw 1 card. Active main limit 1. A lot of people have commented on this effect. It is very weird, but let's give it a read. If you have 3 or more energy and you add 1 AoD other than this card to your hand at the end of your turn, switch this card to active mode. Now, a lot of people are clowning on this card because they're like, why are you able to restand it? It's not a blocker. What's the point of restanding it? There's a few things there. One, it's just like a slight upside. It doesn't have to be a major game winning or super defensive effect. It's just an upside where you can restand it. Your opponent now cannot attack into it, but also it's 5k combo. So you played it, it swung for 15, and it replaced itself by drawing a card. And now you can combo it to Z energy. That's actually a really high value card if you think about it that way, because this is not a deck that historically is known for comboing. So having a 15k threat that again replaces itself is also going to be able to go to Z energy. That's actually a really good effect. So I hope I kind of helped you guys think about it a bit of a different way, because that is actually a solid effect. Whenever you have little bonus things on a card that just add upside, don't complain about it. It's worth it. It's still solid. But other things you can do with the activate main here, you can bounce cards back to hand like Lord Slug, Mighty Agent of Destruction, right? So this is a card that has an onboard effect. When your opponent activates a counterplay, they have to pitch 2 cards. That's really strong, but it's very, very tough to commit putting your super combo on the board because your opponent can remove it and then you lose out on your free 10k. So putting this thing on the board in a crucial turn and then having Janemba to bounce it back to hand is really solid. And you can always put Slug on the board via your Garlic Jr. negate, which is nice. You can also recycle your Garlic Jr. negate with this Janemba, which is really, really good. This card is super solid. Again, it's very weird that it restands. It's not a blocker, but you can get mileage out of that, which is something you definitely want to consider. And then finally, we're wrapping up with Omega Shenron, the strongest Agent of Destruction. I think Broly would have a word with him. But anyways, this is an 8-drop 30k Shadow Dragon, which is also an Agent of Destruction. Very important that this is a Shadow Dragon because, quick spoiler, this does not have an effect that allows it to be played in the Yellow Sin Shenron deck, but technically you could play this card via Sin Shenron's plus or 6 energy ability that does work for this, so that's kind of cool. All right, so 8 drop, 30k deflect, permanent. If your opponent has 3 or more energy, this card gains triple strike. Auto, when this card's played, choose one. You can either draw a card or choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and KO it. So giving AoD some just straight up spot removal for barrier, that's always going to be really good. Activate main limit 1 if your leader has AoD in its character name and the total number of cards with AoD in their names in your leader. Energy, Z, energy, battle area, and drop is 7 or more. Play this card from your hand. No energy restriction, right? As long as you have the total number of guys, you can play it for 1. But obviously, you're probably not going to have all 7 of those in all your areas by like turn 2. Maybe turn 2 if you're charging and comboing and doing stuff. But I would say this is probably coming down like turn 3 the earliest, right? That seems to be pretty realistic. But this is another just home run of a card. Every single card we read for AoD today is incredibly good, and not even just in AoD decks. I wonder if Janemba is usable somehow in Janemba decks, but not that Janemba decks besides Janemba Mill have been super great historically. But yeah, another home run. Maybe this comes as like a rogue rush strategy that just gets a lot of cheesy cheap wins. That would be really cool. But yeah, more great cards. I want in the comments, of course, what do you guys think about this AoD support? Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.